journey to Freedom 5-1 began in 2012, I would say, whenever God used a story on the radio to break my heart wide open for hurting people, specifically women and children at the time. Didn't know really what that kind of looked like. I talked to a few people and I just felt that God was saying, I'm ready to use you. And out of nowhere, it was like He was saying, I need to take you somewhere and show you something, like taking me out of my comfort zone and putting me in LA, where, because like in Anderson, you can turn your back on people that are hurting, that are right outside your back door, but it was like God was saying, I need you to see stuff that you can't turn your back on. And in LA, it was kind of like everywhere. And He wanted me to go to the Dream Center. Didn't really know how I was going to raise the money to do that, because I didn't have the money to go all the way to LA and spend a whole week, and didn't know who I was going to take. But I knew I was going, and I shared that vision and a way that I would raise the money with some ladies that I was serving with at the church at the time. That was toward the end of 2012, and then at the beginning of 2013, she came to me and asked me how it was going, and really I hadn't done anything with it then. So once they held me accountable for it, I got busy and set up my fundraiser and raised the money. That was in March 2013, and still didn't know who was going to go with me. And then on Easter Sunday that year, I ran into a lady who I went to Kenya with back in 2009, and her name was Wanda Weldon, and asked her if she wanted, Wanda was going back to Kenya, as a matter of fact. She was going back to Kenya to serve again on another trip that year. And I saw her Easter Sunday and asked her how it was going. I said, I heard you were going back to Kenya. And she said, no. She said, I don't feel like the God is calling me to go back to Kenya right now. She said, I have withdrawn from that trip. So I told her what I was planning, where I was going, and thought that she would be a great fit to go on that trip. She said that she would think about it and pray about it. And I sent her the information later on that night about the Dream Center in LA. She got back in touch with me and said that she thinks that would be something she would like to do. So that was in April, and we left June the 1st. So it was a quick planning trip, and we were kind of nervous, but we made the trip, and while we were in LA, we saw things and experienced things that just absolutely broke our hearts wide open. And we knew that we wanted to bring this back to Anderson and do something here in Anderson for the people that we couldn't turn our backs on anymore. When we got back from LA, it's just amazing how God works. In the next few weeks of being home, that June 2013, God brought some more people into our lives that had started a Dream Center in Pickens, and that was Jim and Chris Wilson. And we kind of partnered up with them and served at their Dream Center in Pickens that they were starting. And Wanda at the time felt led to take another team back out to LA in December of that same year to kind of get back behind the scenes information on how they ran their Dream Center and how they got started, so that we could bring it back and use it in the Dream Center in Pickens, and eventually in the one that we would start in Anderson. We all got away and went to the mountains for the weekend, just for a quiet place that we could talk and read scripture and talk about the vision that God had laid on all of our hearts. And while we were away in a quiet place in the mountains reading through scripture, the three of us was reading through Galatians, and it just kind of hit us, Galatians 5:1. This is our scripture. This is where God is leading us, and that is where we came up with Freedom 5:1, and that is basically where our journey began. Freedom is life. There is no better feeling knowing that the past is gone and there are so many better options ahead in the future. Knowing that through God, all your worldly sins and bondage you can be set free from. And Freedom 5-1 is life.